Wondered why the successful or the rich keep getting richer and more successful, even when it seems like they're not trying. When there's people that work, but don't seem to be able to move the needle forward to even get a piece of the pie. Or when there's people that are famous seemingly for no reason, and you can't figure out why. Well, look, today I'm actually pointing out some reasons why based on science, data, and experience, and you guys will love it. So check it out.
Good afternoon, Clientele Business family. It's your boy Dami Okujara here. Just checking in with you guys today. I just finished up a basketball workout. My knee's a little bit sore. So I actually thought I'd check you guys some value based on some research and findings that I've been able to comprehend and understand after studying rich people and how they move and how they think, and successful people and how they act for a couple of years now, since I was about 17 and I'm 20 now. And one thing that I've realized is that it tends to fall on three main components. And those three main components aren't things that are out of the ordinary in terms of our realm. But before I hop into it, I just want to give you a bit of background to my findings. So I've always been an avid, fan of the successful, trying to understand them. When I was 17 years old, actually, when I wasn't going out to parties in, year 12, when I wanted to blow off steam or whatever, if I wasn't going to go out to a party on Friday night, what I would do was I'd actually just watch TED Talks till I went to bed. And it wasn't necessarily that I liked the ideas that all of them were spreading, but one thing I did admire was the way that they were thinking. So I really liked the ability that they had to get up on a stage and bring something that was in here to life. And subconsciously, after months and eventually a year, because I finished year 12, I'm letting that seep into my mind. I kind of came into the real world noticing some things straight off the rip. Okay, this person might have a really good shot at being successful. This person has a lot of charisma. This person's really good at sales. This person's a really good singer. And it was these little intricacies that stood out to me a lot just because of all the social attention and conscious attention that I had put to TED Talkers. So me coming into the world with that mindset, I was able to not necessarily grab all the opportunities I was presented. If you got those that know me and are watching this know that I've messed up a lot of times in the past, and I'm a young person. I've had to learn from opportunities and experiences, but I can definitely say that there is a trend with successful people, particularly financially successful people. So think of it this way. When it comes to, and let's just take emotions and I guess all that good integrity stuff out of it. When it comes to just value, when it comes to numbers, and when it comes to wealth and finance, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to money. And money, what is it? It comes down to numerical value, numbers, right? So just like how 2 plus 2 equals 4, 1 plus 1 equals 2, 5 plus 5 equals 10, there's a formula. Because money is with numbers, there's a formula to financial freedom. Now, before you guys start critiquing me saying, "What does this 20-year-old know about finance? What does he know about the world?" I'm gonna be the first one to admit I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm not anything close to that as of now. I'm just a young kid who's had some success with his marketing agency and has been able to spend some time around successful people in a variety of industries, and I've started to notice a trend. And this trend was a formula that I've kind of conceived, but also based upon research and observations on the algorithm, if you could say so, for financial freedom. And I'm just going to use this to demonstrate my findings. So, first of all, we've got to start with what is a high income skill. One thing I realized with a lot of these hyper successful people, whether they're rappers, musicians, athletes, finance moguls, entrepreneurs, they all have a handful of high income skills. What is a high income skill? A high income skill is something where it provides so much. It's a skill that is deemed extremely valuable by society that people would throw a lot of money for it. For example, Gary Vee, he's a phenomenal marketer and public speaker. Grant Cardone has so much energy, so much charisma and tonation, right? Michael Jordan, he was not only an excellent basketball player and gifted athlete, but he was an extremely clever businessman and entrepreneur, right? So, high income skill. And for sure, I'm just going to write HIS. Stuffed up the H. I mean the I. Right? HIS. So keep this in mind. So a lot of them tended to have a high income skill, right? Now, the second thing that a lot of extremely successful people tend to have more so is the ability to create habits that creates consistency. Right? So consistency, see the consistency. Now, the reason why consistency has to be part of this equation is because in order for a skill to actually be recognized by the marketplace, regardless of whatever industry you're in, it has to seep in and it has to be noticed and it has to be able to maintain its position. So, like I told you with me about the TED Talks thing, I didn't wake up one morning being able to pick out certain kind of skills within people or kind of notice certain patterns. I had to listen to probably hundreds or at least around 50 to 100 TED Talks within 12 months for me to really understand, okay, this person is a phenomenal speaker. Why? Because they're able to do this, that, and this and that. But I couldn't have picked that up after, the first 5 TED Talk videos. I had to constantly stay consistent and learn about it, right? And the third other I guess, part of the equation, the third other factor in part of this was actually scalability. And some of you might be thinking, yeah, that's obvious. That's obvious. Scalability obviously is super important. But there's a reason why scalability is kind of the X factor, if you will. So how this equation works, these are the 3 factors, right? And I'm going to put these in brackets. Use my finger. H. Oh, all right. HIS times consistency to the power, times scalability, right? So that's the model of the equation. So how does this equation work, right? So now that you guys understand this, I'm going to delete all this, ignore the bad handwriting, and I'm going to write it at the top. So I'm going to write the equation up on here. Oh my gosh. I'll stop it. You guys get the point. HIS times C scalability equals financial. Fine. I'm just going to write FinFree for financial freedom, right? And this is the model that I've been basing a lot of my daily habits on. And it's been working really well for me. And I think it's also given me a lot of confidence to know that this is a compound effect game. And the person with the most of these and who can do this for the longest and get in industries with the most of this win. And it's really interesting and it's been really accurate. Let me show you. Why. So I will use someone who we all know as an example. Let's use, Michael Jordan, right? In fact, let's not even use a basketball player. Let's use a businessman. Let's use Tai Lopez, right? Because everyone knows Tai Lopez, right? So Tai. And let's just pick one of his high income skills, right? So Tai, let's just say, is a phenomenal salesman, right? So his high income skills is sales. And let's just say the metric for HIS is, out of 10. So it can be 1 through 10 out of 10, right? So let's just say, he's obviously, I think he's done over 50 million in sales and revenue. At least that's what Google says about his net worth, whether it's right or wrong. I know he's done a lot. So that's multiple 8 figures. So it's fair to say he's not a billionaire, so he's not a 10 out of 10 in sales, but it's very fair to say he's got a black belt in sales. So let's just give him a 9 out of 10. Right? Because he's still in the top 0.1%. Now, if you look it up, even Tai in his videos talks about how he's been doing sales since he was a teenager. And I think he's 43 now, something like that. But he's been doing sales since he was about 19 years old. So let's just say 20 years. And with the C, the beautiful thing about this is you actually just kind of count days, right? So the metric for C's is just days. So 20 years, I'm going to get out my calculator in front of you guys. 20 times 365 days. And for those in the comments that are going to be like, oh, Dami, you're dragging it. These numbers are obviously off, etc., etc. Like, it's not about the numbers. It's about the methodology. Just focus on the intention. So see, we got 7,300. Because I know sometimes I get trolls on YouTube. Great. So those are the first two factors for just one of his high income skills. And I keep repeating just one for a very, very key reason. And at the end of this video, which should only be about, another 10, 15 minutes, you really understand why for anyone under the age of 40 that really wants to grow their wealth and achieve financial freedom, you'll understand why it's extremely important to learn this now. So that's 7,300, right? Scalability. Right. So let's just say the industry he's picked. In fact, let me move this back. Move this. So let's just say the industry he's picked is business, because he does business, but he does a lot of other things as well. But let's just say, for scalability's sake, because scalability often refers to an industry with the equation, let's just say he's picked business. So I'm going to write biz. And yeah, we'll just leave that as business. So business. I'm going to draw an arrow so you guys understand what I'm referring to. Great. So business. So again, just like high income skills, the scalability part is a metric of 1 through 10. So business, obviously, is extremely scalable. So, the sky's the end. Everything can be monetized into a business, whether you're in sport, television, music, acting, whatever. So I'm going to say for business, it's a 10, right? So business is 10. That is a horrible 10. And that's why I'm an entrepreneur and an artist. So yeah, that's a 10, right? Boom. So now we enter the equation, brackets, right? And that's times 10. And the result, yes, it does say equals financial freedom, but it's really / prosperity, because our metric for the result of this is actually per month. And you'll understand why in a minute also. So I'm going to get out my calculator. Okay, what's the equation? 9, 7,300. Boom. Times 10. Great. So 65, 657,000. Very horrible writing. Using every part of the page per month, right? I forgot a 0. So obviously Ty makes, well, at least from what I know of Ty and from what net worth on Google and all that says, he obviously makes more than this a month. But you see how this one high income skill that he's maxed out to a 9, which is sales, in the industry which is so scalable, over 20 years has ended up with that kind of result. So what does this say? What is this? This actually shows that if you're able to create a high income skill and you develop it over a period of time, whether it's 1 year, whether it's, 20 years, 50 years, the dividends pay within itself if you're in a scalable industry. Now, let me show you something and the antithesis of this, right? Because this is very, very important. I realized this, after being in business for about, 2 years, one being in network marketing, one running my own agency, and, just meeting all types of high level people. The industry you're in can really make or break you. So for example's sake, let's just use an occupational title. So let's just say, so I'll drop the equation again. Horrible writing. Times CS, right? Great. So let's use the platonic, let's just say someone that wants to be in HR. Nothing against HR people, but let's just say you want to be in HR, right? So let's just say you've maxed out. Let's just say this guy's name is Max for the sake of what I'm talking about. So Max, right? And his HIS in HR, or let's just say even admin in administration, right? His HIS in administration is you know social skills is very vague because there's so many aspects to it, but let's just say social skills, so SS, right? Let's say Max has amazing social skills, so he's got a 10 out of 10, boom, right? And Max is 27 years old and he graduated uni typically, as everyone else has a 22, and he's been at this for 5 years, right? So his C is 5 times 365. One eight two five. Right. And the scalability, because he's in admin, the scalability for administration. So I'm not an admin expert. The closest thing I've done to admin was sales at like a fashion store at the end of 2018, and I got let off after 3 months because I wasn't available all the time to even do the Christmas casual thing. So from what I know from other people's admin experiences, it's relatively capped, even the best of the best. So me even giving this a 4, I think I'm being really reasonable. Let's just say you're even at the most, let's just say you're working at Trump Towers in admin, right? I still think a 4 in terms of scalability internationally is as high as it's going to get, right? So let's plug these numbers into the equation. Okay. And then all right, 73,000 per month. So that's why I was saying I think I'm being extremely generous, even giving the scalability of 4. But for the sake of this example, I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, right? So even if he was a veteran, as we can see, his high income skills are a 10. Even if he'd been a veteran and he'd been consistent for a super long time, right? The scalability is still capped considerably. Considerably. Even if that number changed from 73 to 150,000 per month at the biggest, which obviously I don't know if any administration firm would give that kind of money per month to anyone. But for the sake of this example, let's just say it was even double this. If it's capped and his skills are already 10 out of 10, the scalability remains a 4. There's going to be a threshold, and he's going to have to keep increasing his consistency to the day he dies in terms of how long he's going to be in that industry for him to really flourish, which is why I think it's so much more powerful to actually diversify your high income skills rather than just relying on a job, particularly in this lockdown climate. And this is why people are saying, develop a skill, etc., etc. But I want to take it a step further and show you the results of people that have actually created multiple high income skills within an industry, made it their own in a scalable industry, and what the numbers look like. So let's just use, who's someone we all really know. You know what? We can use a basketball athlete. Let's even say, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to Kobe. Kobe, right? Kobe. Right. So all I'm gonna do, because he was a multifaceted individual, rest in peace to him. I'm just gonna name three of his high value, high income skills, and I just want to show you just a small example that should really wake you up to why you should be working right now, particularly if you're under 30, under 40, if you're under 25, particularly like myself. Why, if you can harness these high income skills now, then the sky is your limit. Let me show you something. So these HISs. Just going to name three of them. So basketball, right? Obviously, there's many facets to basketball, but I'm just going to write one. So I'm going to write ball. Another one of his was, he got a Grammy actually for a film. So I'm going to write production. Right. And, a third one is definitely he was an avid, he had extremely great social skills, right? Extremely great social skills. I'm even gonna put, I'm even gonna put just motivational speaker. Like I'm not even gonna list all of them because there's so many, but just for the sake of this example, motivational speaker. And I want to show you something about scalability, which is why I'm doing this one. Motive speak. Right? So let's just say for basketball, obviously he's Kobe, one of the greatest of all time. I think he's top 10. So that's 10. His production skills, yes, he got an award for it. He's relatively still new to the industry, but he was already getting noticed by, the industry at large in Hollywood for what he'd done. I think, let's just play it down a little bit. I'll even give him an 8. Motivational speaker, everyone knows Kobe Bryant was super motivational. That's not his main, that's not primarily what he's known for, so I'll give that an 8 as well. His consistency, I'm sure some of you guys are like getting what I'm talking about at this point. Consistency, basketball, he's been playing basketball since he was a teenager, since he was in Italy, but for the sake of this example, I'm just going to put 20 years, so 20. Production. And the beautiful thing about this also is that these are all high income skills, right? Not just like I'm not like a basic skill that can be replaced by a robot. These are high income skills, right? Which is why the money is different. 8. How long did we say for this one? So yeah, for the motivational speaking, let's just say he's been doing that for. Let's even dumb it down. I'm happy to make it smaller. Let's say he's been only doing that for 10 years, even though he obviously hasn't. 10 times, 365, 3654. And I'm playing it down for all of you trolls in the comments because I really want you to understand the power of this equation and how it makes me think and how it's helped me grow extremely quickly. Yeah. So then the scalability. Well, basketball, the highest level is the NBA as of now. And, that's a pretty prosperous, and that's the highest level. There's a lot of opportunity there. So I'm going to write 10. Production as well. It's 10. You picked the right industries. The ceiling for motivational speaking, it's an extremely pricey niche and industry for sure. But, I'm definitely You know what? For the sake of this, I'll put it just a bit lower, even though it's very arguable that some motivational speakers will make more than athletes. I actually think athletes make a lot of money, but they don't save it, which is a different discussion. But you know what? I'm just going to say nine, even though that's, just to put a little bit of fairness into it. Great. So I have to do the maths for this. Okay. So let's do the maths for one by one. So 10, luckily these are all 10. So um, per month, so that's 73,000, 73,000, 730,000. I'm just going to write 730K. And this is seriously why I think entrepreneurs are going to create the schools of the future. 8. Great, right? So add all these bad boys up. Boom. Okay. For the sake of this, I'm just going to round it down. So I'm going to write 1.2. That is a horrible 2. 1.2 mil. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of the power of compound effect with financial freedom and high income skills. So where am I going with all this? A lot of the educational systems teach you to learn a certain skill that fits within society's narrative of, working class, middle class. But what I've realized with a lot of these high level TED Talk speakers, motivational speakers, high level athletes, musicians, artists, is that so many of them, even people like Taylor Swift, Michael Jackson, Jay-Z, all of them have high level skills in so many scalable industries: business, music, art, sport, influence, public speaking. The list goes on. If you really, really want the best shot at being successful, I honestly would dedicate the next 5 to 10 years making as many core high income skills. And you don't have to do every single skill to make a high income, but it can be something as simple as, tonation, right? Wow, my writing's horrible. Tonation. Tonation. Can even be confidence. Confidence. And then, something you love. For me, it's basketball. Ball, right? And you can do business as well. You just need a handful of high income skills. And what this does, hold on. And what this will do to you and your competitors and your lifestyle after a variety of years is you're so dangerous and you're so valuable to society in the marketplace that, one, even if you're working for someone else, they can't afford to lose you because you bring an almost you're just so dangerous. You're so versatile in the slightest of ways that, your CFO or your CEO might only be good at, managing a business, managing a team, but you have confidence, you have charisma, you have business intelligence, you have social skills, you have the ability.
Your CEOs, your team captains, your team leaders, your employees, all your team and work leaders will love you just because you are so invaluable to them to the core. So if you're learning about this today, definitely pick up a book, read about high income skills, start learning one, and please tell me the results that you guys have. Till then, keep me posted. I love you guys. CB out. Bye.